All right. So now this is another tier list video. Well, another tier list breakdown. This is going to be for the artifacts. A lot of people have been asking me about artifacts. What's the best artifacts for this hero and this hero? What's the best artifact overall? What do I think about this artifact versus this artifact? Yada, yada, yada. So that's what we're going to get into in this video. Now, I will say artifacts are very tricky and unique. And what I mean by that is artifacts come down to really three things: situation, the character wearing it, and its overall skill. So, for example, an artifact that is very good is Damien Darkblood's Notebook. Damien Darkblood's Notebook is an artifact that decreases the defense of all human enemies. When you first get this notebook, I believe it is at level, I think it's like 7% that it decreases. I think it's at a level of 7% that it decreases when you first get the notebook. 7% decrease of all humans' defense. It's not bad, and it's a percentage based. Unlike how Anissa's is based off of her stats, this one's a percentage based off of the human that you're going against defense. So if they have 100,000 defense, he's removing 7,000 of their defense with just having it at level 1. So that's the reason why this is such a good one. Where I personally have it as of right now, I have it at level 34. It removes 20% of a human enemy's defense, which is huge. So, a person you can use this on is, most people would say Anissa, and I would say no to that. I would say no to Anissa. It's funny because someone just said it. I would say no to Anissa, and the reasoning I would say no to putting it on Anissa is because Anissa, you would want to focus more on giving her items that will keep her alive because of the fact that she's easily killed. You would actually want to put this artifact on someone that's not going to die easily, so that way the debuff can stay for most of the fight. I personally like to put it on my Mark or my Alan. I usually put it on Mark or Alan. One of them will carry it for me when I battle. But before we go into all that, I want to rank them first, and then we're gonna go over the skills. So starting in D tier, well, not D tier. It's there. We're not gonna say D tier. Starting in it's there, meaning it's in the game. If I have it, you might as well use it. It might be super situational, but it's there. You have it. It'll give you a few stats. Why not? And the first one I think that comes to my mind is this one. This one is so bad. This one, what it does is decreases the critical hit chance of ranged enemies by 9% for each original Guardian of the Globe or Guardian of the Globe ally on your team. Now, this one is situational, which is why I consider it as such a bad one. The reason why I would say it's situational and I consider it a bad one is because you basically need to be using a Guardian of the Globe team for this to really do anything. Now, if you're using a Guardian of the Globe team, this actually can be considered one of the best ones because of the fact that the person you're usually most scared of when you are in arena is Universa. And then the other people outside of that one is Doc Seismic, and then the healers in Adam, Eve, and Robot. So this overall will counter those people. Ancient Livy, the Mauler twins, well, Mauler twin with the gun. This does do a hard counter. So if you are running a team of 5 Guardian of the Globe members, then this actually isn't that bad. Because as where I have it right now at level 11, it's 9%. I think at level 1 it's 6%. So you would say level 1, 6%, right? 6% would be, let's say you have a team of Immortal, Shrinking Ray, Bulletproof, Monster Girl, and Robot, right? Let's say that's your team. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. That's 30% crit hit decrease. Can you make one about heroes, dude? I literally just made that one. We literally just did it before this one. So that video will be up on my YouTube probably shortly either tonight or tomorrow morning. But yeah, so with the decretion, 30% could be huge and could help you win a game. Could definitely help you win a fight. But is it something ideal? No. It's very situational, which is why I put it here. Another one that is very situational would be this one. It's another one that kind of works in the same department. The range heroes present in the team receive a defense boost equal to 11% of the wielder's defense. Now, this one can be good in a way. So, if I was to put this on my Conquest or Allen, this would help my Adam Eve and my Universa stay up longer. This would help them stay alive longer. So if you have a team that maybe you have a Doc Seismic and a Robot, and let's say, let me see, a Universa. Let's say that's people in your team. This artifact right here will help those 3 individuals stay alive a lot longer as long as you put this artifact on your tank. But once again, there's a lot of artifacts that are better than this one in that case. And another thing is the stats on this artifact are also very lackluster. You only get 100 points in defense, and you only get 0.3% boost in energy defense. So it's not the best on stats. The stats for the GDA spy drone is 200 attack points, 160 defense points, and 0.2% critical hit chance. So once again, the stats are very low on these. After that, I might say this one. Honestly, this one could maybe be here, but it's not for the stats. But we'll see. Let's get into all of these first. Now this one. When a hero uses it, it increases their defense by 3% for each. It increases their defense by 3% and increases their critical damage by 1%. This applies for each original Guardian of the Globe member or Guardian of the Globe present in the team. Once again, Guardian of the Globe team will be needed for this artifact, which is once again why these artifacts are very herded. These are very OG artifacts that were meant for when you have the OG heroes. Now, this artifact is very weak, only 3%. It's not going to be a game changer necessarily. It does help with crit damage a little bit. You can get, basically, if you're using 5 heroes, you can get 5% crit chance damage, and you can get a total of 15 extra defense, so this one is definitely the worst one in my opinion. I would say this one's maybe a little bit better. And then after that one, the last one that I would say is probably that it's there would be this one. Where is it? The Flaxen Spray Gun. The Flaxen Spray Gun decreases refill speed of abilities cooldown on all human enemies by 8%. So now this would basically make it that if you're going against a mortal Rex, a Red Rush, a Mark, their abilities will basically take 8% longer to get, which is like literally like maybe a second, maybe like 0.5 seconds. So it's such a little minuscule, I can't say the word, but it's such a little difference that it's not impactful at all. And the thank you for the rose, and the stats on it aren't really that good either. You will get 300 attack boost and a 1% increase in critical damage and a 0.3% increase in energy attack power. So once again, it's not the best, which is hence why it's in there. But now we're going to start cranking it up to a little bit of better gear. Now this one I'm a little bit on the fence. I kind of want to put it here, and I kind of want to put it here. I'm thinking here for right now. Reduces the hero who wears its ability cooldown by 9%. So it's basically this one, but in reverse, basically increasing how quickly you can get your abilities off. Now, if this was at like maybe 15%, maybe it'll be that big of a deal. But at 9%, it's really not that impactful. Now, the stats on it do give you 500 HP more. It does give you a 1.5% energy defense, and it does give you a 0.3 critical increase. So the stats aren't that crazy either. That's why I'm going to put it there. Now, this ability right here. Now, this one. What is this one called? Battle Hologram, right? Battle Hologram, I might have to put in decent. Battle Hologram, for me personally, Battle Hologram might have to be indecent because Battle Hologram, what it does is when a hero uses their ability, it reduces their allies' cooldown by 12%. Basically this ability right here. But it does it for the whole team instead of just one person. So it makes it a little more impactful overall. And then the stats on this one is 100 defense points, 0.2 a critical damage increase, and 0.2 critical chance increase. So the stats aren't that good, but the ability is decent skill. Another one that's going to probably fall in decent skill is going to be the body enchantment armor. And that's because this one gives a 12% critical chance, which is huge. And then it also stacks for each Guardian of the Globe member on the team, whether they're being original or regular. So this one is actually, if you're using a Guardian Globe team, this one can be very good, honestly. But because it's so strategic, so specific to only Guardian of the Globe members, I think I will do decent skill. The stats on it are also pretty decent because it gives you a 400 increase on HP. It gives you 100 on defense. It gives you 100 on attack power, and then it also gives you 0.4% increase in critical damage output. So it does do a little bit of something for your stats. Burger Mart trash bag. Now, hear me out. When I first got this one, I truly had it in like throw it in the garbage. But now that I've learned how to use it, one of the most powerful artifacts in the game. And that's because upon receiving a critical hit, so every time that the wielder gets hit by a critical, the wielder throws a trash bag around the enemy, distributing a random stat on nearby enemies for 15%. So it's a random stat that it puts on enemies for 15%. For a 5-second duration. And in addition, applies a damage over time equal to 430% of the wielder's defense for 5 seconds as well. The cooldown overall on this artifact is 14 seconds. Now, what that means is, let's say he applies the random artifact. The random thing happens to be, let's say a bleed effect or burn effect. He gives them all a 15% burn effect that's equal to 15% of their attack stats, right? It's their attack stats. Yeah, equal to 15% of their attack stats. But then it also does more damage over time, equal to 430% of the wielder's defense. I have this ability on my conquest. So this artifact is meant for being on tanks. You want this artifact on a tank, someone that has a third defense. So for me, I have it on my conquest. And to give you an example and a quick little breakdown of it, my conquest has a 33,000 defense, right? So if we're taking 33,000 and we're multiplying that by 430, that's 4.3 times 33,000. That would basically mean that when this ability gets active, it's dishing out 33 times 4.3. 141, basically 142,000 damage over time. Over a 5-second period. That is absolutely broken when you think about it. Absolutely broken. So yes, most valuable, most powerful for sure. Now it is a little strategic because you have to have it on a defender, but every team in the game usually will have a defender. There's some teams that probably don't have a defender necessarily, but most teams are going to have at least one defender on the team. So now, next one we're going to get into is the Burger Mart Burger. This is one that a lot of people love. When the hero's HP drops below 20, it heals all allies by 25% and increases their attack power by 5% for 5 seconds. But the cooldown is 50 seconds. It's a very long cooldown. Most likely not going to be able to get it off 2 times in a battle. It's more going to get off multiple times in like a GDA wave thing. But in a battle, you're only going to have this pop 1 time. This is your one get out of jail free card, basically. And if I'm being honest, it was a lot better back then before the things that were recently added. And because of that reasoning, I'm going to have to just put it in very good. I don't think it is most powerful anymore. If you would have asked me before, I would have said most powerful. But I think as of now, with all the other artifacts in the game, I think it is very good. Then we got the... What is this one? The Consume Flower. This, when an ally drops to below 25 HP, this artifact removes all negative effects on them and applies healing over time equal to 20% of hero's current HP for 10 seconds. Cooldown is 40 seconds. So this one is something like the Burger Mart Burger with a faster time to get it again, and it also removes the negative effects on the person. So I think this one's slightly better than the Burger Mart Burger. Now we got the Notebook, and I already told you guys, most overpowered thing in the game right now. This Notebook counters so many things. The Notebook decreases the defense of all human enemies by, if you have it at level 1, 7%. If you have it at level 20, 10%. If you have it at level 30, like I do, it's 20%. So it's a big debuff. And there's a lot of human characters in the game, so this is very important. Next artifact. Now this one slept on. This is the Neuralink chip. The Neuralink chip. Oh wait, I didn't even go over the stats for the book. The book only gives you 300 HP. That's all it does. Oh, and the Burger Mart Trash Bag, I didn't go over the stats for the Burger Mart Trash Bag either. Burger Mart Trash Bag gives you 100 defense and 0.6 0.6 physical attack power. And the Burger Mart Burger gives you 1,000 HP more, and the Lotus gives you 600 HP more and 0.3 energy defense more. Sorry, I didn't update you guys on that. That's my bad. But the Neuralink chip gives you, the stats on the Neuralink chip is honestly the craziest. The Neuralink chip gives you 300 HP, 360 HP, gives you 110 attack power, it gives you 60 defense, it gives you 0.3 energy attack, 0.3 physical attack. And what the Neuralink chip does is when a hero is using the Neuralink chip, he will receive, his entire team will receive a boost equal to 7% of the wielder's stats, as long as they are facing themselves. What that means is, and some people might not understand what that means. So if my team is Mark, Alan, Universa, Conquest, and Adam Eve, right? That's my main team. As long as the team I'm going against, and let's say I have this Neuralink chip on my Allen, as long as I am going against another Allen, my entire team is getting 7% of all of Allen's stats. Meaning, my entire team will be getting 7% of 216,000 HP. What's 7% of 216,000 HP? Let me find out for you. 7% of 216,000.
The answer is 15,120.
15,000. So that means every single person on my team, if I have this Neuralink chip on my Allen, and my Allen is going against another Allen, that means every single person on my team is getting 15k HP added to theirs. Then they're also getting 7% of 58,000 attack power, which if I had to guess is probably going to be around like 7,000 attack power, like 7 to 6,000 attack power, and then 32%, almost 33,000 defense. So 7% of that would probably be around 2%, around 2,000 defense extra. So they're getting 15,000 extra health, about 6,000 extra attack power, and about 2,000 extra defense. That's insane. And it's your whole team getting that. That's like if your whole team was wearing the artifact. So it's dramatically good. So, with that reasoning, I would say it's honestly better than the Notebook. It's more situational though, so I will put it a little lower. Okay, next artifact we're going into is this one right here. Now this is the Flaxen Drone Trap. The Flaxen Drone Trap. When a hero receives a debuff, it silences the enemy that gave the debuff for 4 seconds and decreases their defense by 20% for 4 seconds. So, this one is honestly one of those ones that I would say the skill is decent. It's not the best, it's not the worst. The stats on it are okay. Rare to happen. Rare to happen. So, the reason why I say this one's rare to happen, situational at best, is because it happens what? I don't think there's a cooldown on it. I'm not positive there's a cooldown on it. And it does decrease their defense by a good amount. 20% is a good amount. So it's not bad. So I don't think I would put it here. I would say it's decent, I think. I think it's better than these two. It is kind of like a Damien Darkblood book. So maybe I put it in very good. But the only thing is the person has to get a debuff. And that means the person has to survive that debuff. And I'm also not 100% sure if it is always active. I don't know if there's a timer on it. I think I'm going to say decent. At the top of decent. Next is the Flaxen Stun Device. Now, a lot of people love this one. If an enemy deals more than 5% of the max HP of the wielder in a single hit, they deal the same damage back and pushes the person that dealt the damage with a stun of 1.5 seconds. So basically, if I have this on my mark, and a Universa, because that's the first person he's going to attack, a Universa does 5% of his HP like that, he's going to punch the shit out of her, dealing 5% of her HP back. Plus, he's going to stun her for 1.5 seconds. So that's not a bad artifact. I think a lot of people overhype this artifact. It does have a quick cooldown, which is why I think most people love it, because it's only a 10-second cooldown, meaning you get it back very quickly. And then it activates more and more. Thank you, Rocket. I think most people like the fact that it has a stun, because a lot of people are suckers for the stun. But if I'm being truly honest, I don't think this one is that much better than I would say the defense decreasing wing. So I would say depending on how high you get this, that stun can get better. And if it's like if it goes up to like a 2 to 3 second stun, it can be in very good. So it does, I guess, depend on how much you have it scaled up. But I think 20% decrease of someone's defense is just better overall. So I'm not sure. I kind of want to put it here. I'm really hesitant on putting this one up here with the best, because this one's situational. This one is somewhat situational because you have to get a debuff put on you. But if you think about it, the limitation that this one has, even though this one's so good, the limitation that this one has is that it's only on humans, versus this one is on anyone that gave you a negative effect, which means putting this on someone like Conquest, because Conquest, when he gets a negative effect, he also headbutts the shit out of them, will be crazy. Because not only will he lower their defense, but that he's going to go attack them, which is going to hurt them dramatically. So, I don't know. This one might actually be up here for me. Like I said, it's very situational, and it depends on who you have it on. But this one has potential to be up here. I will definitely say this one is probably the best one right now. Until we get to the healing ones. Next one is a new artifact. One that most people probably don't have, or have at a very low level. This is the Flaxen Stun Device. Now, the Flaxen Stun Device is something that's interesting, and I have done a lot of testing on it. When an enemy receives healing, this device stuns them for 3 seconds, which is huge, and applies an electric damage over time that deals 175% of the enemy's current HP. As damage over time for 10 seconds. Flying enemies will also fall to the ground when affected. This ability has a cooldown of 11 seconds, meaning this can happen every 11 seconds when someone tries to heal. Now, this one, the stats on it, it doesn't give you any stat buffs. The same thing with the Flaxen Staff. I don't believe it gives you any stat buffs. It gives you 100 defense points and 0.4 energy attack points, so nothing crazy. I will say this one is very good. The 3 second stun is amazing, and most people probably would put it up here, but the damage it does over time is kind of how Universa's ability works, because it travels, and when you're going against a robot, this really is amazing. So I think this one's in really good. I think it would be really good. Now, GDA Cloaking Device, one of my favorites. The hero using this becomes invisible for 4 seconds, and their critical chance is increased by 40% for 6 seconds. The cloaking device is triggered every 16 seconds. This one is absolutely amazing. Now, would I say it's the most overpowered one out of all of the ones here? If I'm being truly honest, no. Mainly because of how long it takes for the cloaking device to reactivate. But once again, the more and more you build these artifacts, the more and more the cooldown goes down. So it really does come down to how much you build these artifacts. Where I have it at right now at 16 seconds. I have it at level 37. So that's basically level 30 and above. When I get it to level 40, it probably will go down by like 2 seconds, maybe 3 seconds. So it will get better and better and better. But a 40% critical damage increase is insane. If I was to put this on a battle beast universal like I have it on, you put it on an Omni-Man, a Mark, a blue suit Mark, a freaking Anissa. You put this on Anissa to keep her alive, or a Thula to keep her alive because they go invisible for a little bit. This could be devastational for a team. So yes, this one is very good. I'm not sure if I put it over these two. These two, in my opinion, are just... This one helps an individual person. These two help an overall team. Now we have up next Healing Gel. Yeah, I think everybody knows where Healing Gel is going. It does depend on who you have it on. So I'll say 2. Healing Gel. I think everybody knew where that one was going. If you know what Healing Gel is, you know what Healing Gel is. When the Healing Gel is on a hero, when a hero applies any buffs to any ally, it also applies a healing over time effect of 95% of their defensive stats for 8 seconds. And there's no cooldown. There's no cooldown. So it's always active. I think the only person will be Alan, because Alan does give the World Beyond effect. But I don't know if that counts. So I'm not sure if you could use this on a defender. I don't think it would work. But as far as using it on a healer, Adam Eve and Robot with the Healing Gel is absolutely disgusting. And Theon's Dog with the Healing Gel is absolutely insane. No one will die. I promise you, if you had an Omnipotent plus Seance Dog in the back line with the Healing Gel, no one on your team is dying. No one is dying for shit. But let's get into the next artifact. Now this one, I think this one is going to finally go in that category. We might have to just remove that category in general right now. This is the Mark Grayson earpiece. Every 14 seconds creates an explosion around a random target that deals an AoE, meaning an area of effect, damage equal to 70% of the target's attack power, and leaves a target over time affected, dealing 50% of that hero's attack power to the target. This triggers that lasts for 10 seconds, and this triggers every 14 seconds. So it's not bad. The stats on it: 300 HP, 0.6 critical chance boost, and 0.3 critical damage boost. So it's nothing crazy stats, and it's not that crazy of an artifact. For this to necessarily kill someone or make a dramatic impact, is like, in my opinion, like a close fight that you need that extra little just random damage output that comes out of nowhere. And when you're outnumbered. So I would say this one's situational. This one's rare to happen. Now we have the Martin's Spear. Martin's Spear. Every 9 seconds deals a random enemy a melee range. Wait, what? Every 9 seconds damages a random enemy at melee range for 90% of the hero's attack power. So there's not much description there. And I'm not sure if it's talking about the enemy attacked or the hero wearing it. But it's basically just an overall big damage ball that gets dished out every 9 seconds to a random enemy. So for that, because it's such a quick attack of just random damage, I would say it's actually very good. I would say it's very good. I definitely would use it over pretty much all of the other ones down here. The only one I would maybe be considerate of, depending on my team, would be the ones here in Decent. Excuse me. But I think overall, this one works in just every situation. Versus how these are kind of situational. This one is not the best. I think I'm going to move this one up to here too. Just so there could be something else in this category. So yeah. Now we have Healing Band. Another good one. Medical Healing Band. The device triggered an area of effect, healing all of the other allies present inside of the area. 23% of the damage received for 3 seconds. So now the way this works, most people don't realize, but the way this works is actually by taking damage. The cooldown is 3 seconds, meaning the bubble is going to keep popping up. You're going to keep getting healed. But you're not just randomly getting healed. You're getting healed 23% of whatever damage you take in. So if the bubble's up and we're getting healed at the moment, and I take 500 damage, I'm going to heal back 23% of that. And then as long as I just keep getting hit, you keep getting more and more health. So this one is situational in the sense that it kind of just keeps you alive. It doesn't necessarily heal you like a big jump of healing, but because it's every 3 seconds, you just keep getting that little extra health, that little extra health, that little extra health, that little extra health, and it just keeps helping until your teammates get that ultimate heal that boosts everybody's health again. So this one, in my opinion, is like small increments, but because it's so consistently quick, I would say it's indecent. A lot of people probably would put it higher, like they would consider it higher, but in the sense of actual testing of it, I would say it's decent. If you were to max it out and maybe get it to maybe level... Maybe, because I have it at level 10. And it's going to probably go up by, I want to say 3% with each 10 levels. So maybe if you get it to level 30 and it gets to 30%, then maybe we could be talking about something a little more crazy. But the fact that it's also you have to take the damage in order to heal it back makes me feel like it's not that good. Even though it is healing you, it's not the best healing option. Now we have medical. What is this? The med kit. Increases the wielder's healing effect by 10%. Now this one is an OG one. It's very simple, and the person you would most likely put this on would be Robot. You would most likely put this on a Robot. Or you would put this on a Damien Darkblood. Or, like I used to, put it on Immortal. And the reason some people might be like, what the fuck? Put it on Immortal? I used to put it on Immortal because of Immortal's last skill that he takes 10% of whatever other people heal. if you put this on Immortal, he basically gets 10 extra percent of healing. So instead of only healing 10% of what other people heal, he will not actually heal 20% of what other people get healed. So it overall just boosts his ability by double. Most people don't know that, but I did a lot of testing, and I know that from testing. So with that being said, the fact that it can dramatically boost your Immortal that much, if you're using a team that is GDA, I would say it's probably rare to happen because you're probably not always using a team with GDA. But I would say I would probably put it in decent, slightly above Healing Band. Now, these two. These two are some heavy hitters. We have the Obedience Collar, which is every 21 seconds, it applies a confusion stat on a random enemy for excuse me, for 4.3 seconds, while increasing enemies' attack power by 50% for those 4.3 seconds. So basically, you're taking over an enemy for a little bit less than 5 seconds, and you're giving them a 50% boost in power and having them wail on their own teammate. Now, this one is one that honestly works best on Shapesmith because he already does confusion. So this is just like confusion on top of confusion on top of confusion. Someone also is Russ Livingston. I usually use it on my Titan, so he can get a little extra help. Another person I used to use it on was my Allen. So it's very situational. It doesn't matter who you have it on. The buff that you get from wearing this artifact is only 400 extra HP, 100 extra defense, and 0.3 extra critical percent. I think, if I'm being honest, because it's 21 seconds, you probably are only going to have it happen maybe twice, maybe 3 times, but I would say probably twice in a battle. So I would say rare to happen. I would say it's probably rare to happen because it will happen throughout your battle, and it will help you when it happens. When it happens, it definitely does help in a good sense. It helps in a very good sense because it will make it that person that gets taken is no longer attacking your team, which helps your team not take as much damage. And you also get to put more damage. It basically turns it into a 6v4. So it does help. I just don't know if I want to put it in decent. It honestly, low-key, just works as like a 4-second stun, just with the added effective damage. So, yeah, I'll put it in decent. Now this one, I'll put right here. This is the Oxygen Helmet. And the reason I'm putting it in most powerful, some people might disagree with me on this one. But the reason why I put this in most powerful is because this one, on a person that has very low health, this increases their defense by 70%. And I only have it at level 15. So I'm positive that if I was to max this out to get it to like level 30, 40, that might jump up to 90%, which is basically damn near doubling their defense. And having a Nissa with the same defense of a Conquest would be absolutely devastational to a team. Or taking a Conquest and putting this on top of a Conquest. Peace out, Rock. I appreciate you. Putting this on a Conquest if it had it at 90, would basically be doubling 32,000, because that's what my Conquest's defense is at. You're basically almost doubling 32,000 with putting him at like 50,000 defense That boy is not dying. So this one can be really good. I think it's best to be used on low defensive units to try to keep them up longer. Like my Anissa, she's low level for me. So I put this on her to try to bridge that level gap. And it does last for a pretty decent time. It lasts for 17 seconds, which is a pretty good amount of time. Usually you can probably get if your team is built the right way, you can probably get an enemy down in that time period. Or at least halfway to being down by that time period. Before all of her defense just drops back down to normal. And that's all of the artifacts. Now, there is one last artifact. There is one last artifact that we have to review before we can consider this list to be done. And that is the, what is it called? Vitals Tablet, which increases healing effect received by 20%. Now, like I told you with the other, it's kind of a better medical medkit. It's kind of a better medkit in a way, but it increases the received healing. So this one on top of an immortal would be even better than the medkit on top of the immortal, because now on top of his 10%, he's also going to get additional 20, which means that's 30% healing back. And then if you put the medkit on robot, it dishes out 10% extra healing, which means that's 40% extra healing that immortal will be getting, plus the fact that he's healing whatever his teammates are healing. So this one can really make up for the fact of Anissa deleting humans. This can really make Immortal somewhat able to be back in the fight. This can keep him somewhat there. It's going to still be hard with Anissa and Conquest, if that's the people you're going against. Still going to be hard against those two. But I can see this giving a huge buff to the GDA people. The people that like to use the GDA teams. This will give a insane buff to those teams. Insane. You can also just throw this on... You can honestly throw this on a Blue Suit Mark. So that way he doesn't die as quickly, because maybe he'd be healing a little more. You can throw this on... Who's someone else that receives healing? You could throw this on a Shrinking Ray, so she doesn't die quick. It has to be on someone that's going to take damage. You can throw it on a tank, in honesty. You can throw it on another tank. Even though I think there are better artifacts for that, to put on tanks. But I would say this one is very good. But I will say it's not in most overpowered. It would definitely fall in probably very good. I think I would put it in the bottom of very good. I think that's where I would put it. So let's just take this image, drag it over there in our minds. Just take it and drag it over there in our brain, and let's pretend like this is the tablet, and we're putting the tablet here, and the medkit's still here. Okay, so the tablet will be like right here. But that is my artifacts tier list. Once again, I thank you guys for the love and support. I hope this helped you guys. I hope the breaking down of what the artifacts do also helped you guys.